excuse me. One of the most effective ways to get through depression is you need to, one, understand your mental health, and two, you need something to help you through your mental health. And I learned very early on from someone who was on a psychiatric hold to someone who became a mental health advocate is personal growth is essential for your mental health. If you are in a depressional state, you need to grow, you need to find something to help you through that thing. Now for me, being on a psychiatric hold, a little bit about my journey, is I was going through a lot, both personally and professionally. If you want to learn more about that process, check out Victortheinspiration.com and look under the blog post 2020 and 2021, where I primarily talked about the beginning stages of it. And I also, too, talked about it in my other blog posts as well. But to learn more about my story and about that process, check out Victortheinspiration.com, where I documented a lot of the process. Back to what I was saying is what helped me get through that mental health crisis being on a psychiatric hold is, one, in the very, very beginning, I was on antidepressants and I was also on other mental health medication that I cannot remember for the life of me, simply because it was very short-lived. What I mean by that is I was taking these medications very temporarily. It was supposed to be more long-term, but there was a divine intervention that kind of happened that I really cannot put into words, where from literally one day to the next, I would call it a miracle, where I went from being on a mental health crisis where I was on a psychiatric hold to being on this medication where there was this divine intervention that happened where I literally woke up one day to the next and I was like, I don't need to be on this medication anymore. And getting through that process was not the easiest, simply because my mom and my family, my siblings at the time, I had that support system. I am very fortunate about that. But because they'd seen me going through that, right, they're very concerned, and they wanted to do they were very concerned, and they wanted what was best for me. And at the time, it was me seeking help, which at the time was me being medicated. Getting through that process was not easy, and that was a journey within itself. And by some miracle, I would call it, is my mom was able to say, okay, you know what? I trust you, and I am willing to see how this next journey goes, where if you say you don't need it, let's do a trial run and see how it works for you. And I believe I was on these antidepressants for roughly a month, maybe if that. I want to say it was less than a month. And I began my healing process. I began my healing journey. And the reason why I wanted to share that with you is because I want you to get a visual understanding as to where I was. I am not just someone who's providing information. I am providing information based off of my own life experiences. Now, of course, everybody is different. I want to highlight that and make that quick disclaimer that everybody has their own journey, and everybody has their own mental health journey and circumstances going on. So please consult with your doctor first. But this is just me talking about my story, and I wanted to share it in hopes that it helps someone else who may be going through a mental health crisis as well. Mental health and personal growth are very essential, and that connection needs to coincide with one another. Because when you are going through your mental health journey, or whatever it is you are going through with your mental health, you need something to get you out of that depressive state. You need something to help you get through what it is you were going through. And for me, that was integrating personal growth into my daily journey. Personal growth meaning finding ways to better oneself, finding ways to improve oneself, finding things to help me through what it is I'm going through. And in order to improve, you need excuse me. Excuse me. Feeling under the weather, so I apologize for my voice in advance. But I want to keep this raw and unedited as much as possible. But you need to integrate personal growth with your mental health journey, because personal growth is all about finding ways to improve finding ways to improve who you are. That is not easy. It's going to be a very hard journey, especially because when you're going through a mental health crisis, what happens? You're struggling as it is, and adding personal growth on top of that, it becomes a more of a can feel like an unbearable journey as well, because you are just adding on what it is you are going through. However, it is very essential that you find the strength, the courage, the faith to integrate personal growth into your journey, because there is some form of information that you don't have that is the reasoning to you being where you are. For me, what I began doing is I began praying. I know if you're not spiritual, I apologize, but this is my journey. I began praying for assistance to help me through what it was I was going through. I began praying, having daily gratitude to find the blessings within my everyday life. Despite how my world was looking, I still found a way to have gratitude. I began reading self-help books, personal development books, things that would help elevate my mindset, help me shift my mindset from my current negative state. I began looking up YouTube videos of other people living the lifestyles that I personally wanted to live. By lifestyles, I'm not just talking about the luxurious lifestyles of these people, but I began studying these people, looking up YouTube videos of people who talked about very similar content that I am creating now, which is how to better your mental health, how to improve oneself, how to better your mental health. And I began doing all these different things, and I began taking one step at a time. How can I get rid of one old negative habit and implement a new positive one? And I began finding ways to put one foot in front of the other. I began finding ways to help me through this journey. I had to commit to making daily positive life changes, taking it one step at a time, and I had to put in the effort to help me through that mental chaos that I ultimately had created, that I ultimately was in. And eventually, as you continue to put one foot in front of the other, and you commit to this journey of yours, and you begin to put in the effort necessary, and you begin taking appropriate actions, inching you forward, before you know it, you're going to be so much further than you ever thought you could ever be. Because a journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. If you want to elevate your mindset, please check out becomethevictor.com. And if you want to learn more about my own personal story, please go to Victortheinspiration.com. And don't forget to please comment down below if this video brought some form of value to and for you. And don't forget to subscribe, because I am on the road to my first 1,000 subscribers on this channel, which would be a huge milestone for me. I love you. I appreciate you. And feel free to share with a friend. Much love. I love you. I appreciate you. And remember, grow through what you go through. Much love.